Today, we're going to dive into a really remarkable story. We're going to see how a compound that our own bodies make from things like pomegranates is now right at the forefront of prostate cancer research. So let's get into it. I know, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, right? Pomegranates, berries, and cancer research? But believe it or not, the link is a super powerful molecule, one that your own body can create. And it's become this major new focus for scientists. Stick with me here, and you're going to see exactly how this all connects. All right, so where does this story even start? Well, it's not in some high-tech lab. It's actually somewhere a lot closer to home, right inside our own guts. Okay, so here's the first thing you really need to understand. You can't just eat Urolithin A. It's not in the food itself. It's something called a postbiotic, which is really just a fancy way of saying your body has to make it after you eat. So you can think of your gut as a little factory. You give it the raw materials from these foods, and it gets to work, transforming them into this incredibly powerful compound. So how does this little internal factory of yours actually work? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. First, you eat foods that have a natural compound in them called ellagic acid. Then, the trillions of microbes in your gut, your microbiome, they get to work breaking it down. And the final product they turn out, that's Urolithin A. It's this perfect partnership between what we eat and the microscopic world living inside us. But here's the catch. This internal factory doesn't always run smoothly. For a lot of us, that production line starts to slow down or even break down, especially as we get older. And this number, well, it's pretty surprising. As we age, our gut bacteria change, and it turns out that only about 40% of adults over 50 actually have the right kind of gut microbes to make Urolithin A efficiently. That means the majority of people just can't produce enough of it, no matter how many pomegranates or walnuts they eat. Just look at this gap. A full 60% of adults over 50 are what we'd call non-producers. So for most of us, just eating the right foods isn't going to be enough to get the job done. And this production gap, well, that's exactly why scientists have started studying direct supplementation with Urolithin A itself. So what does Urolithin A actually do that has scientists so excited about it? Well, it turns out it's basically a master cleaner for what you could call our cellular engines. Urolithin A is known to activate this really critical process called mitophagy. Now, probably the best way to think about mitophagy is like spring cleaning for your cells. It goes around, finds old, busted mitochondria, those are the power plants of our cells, and it recycles them. This makes way for new, healthy, and efficient ones to take their place. Now, why does this matter so much? Well, healthy mitochondria are like clean, efficient engines. They produce energy really well with very little of what you could call cellular rust. Scientists call this oxidative stress. Dysfunctional ones, on the other hand, are the complete opposite. They're inefficient, they're rusty, and they're directly linked to the processes of aging and disease. And that specific link between those rusty cellular engines and disease, that's what brings us right to the heart of our topic today, a major new focus for cancer researchers. You see, what the science is telling us is pretty clear. Dysfunctional mitochondria aren't just a side effect of cancer. They're actually considered a core hallmark of the disease itself. And this is true across a whole range of cancers, from melanoma and lung cancer all the way to our focus today, prostate cancer. And this is really a double whammy. It's not just that the cancer itself is linked to poor mitochondrial health. It turns out that many of the essential cancer treatments we rely on can also damage these cellular engines. And this double hit is believed to be a major cause of some of the worst side effects, like that really debilitating cancer-related fatigue. All right, so given everything we've just talked about, let's look at how scientists are putting this entire theory to the test in a major new clinical trial. This is the Uro-Pro trial, and it's a really important phase 2 study sponsored by the National Cancer Institute. It's placebo-controlled, which you know is the gold standard for research. They're taking 90 men with confirmed prostate cancer and giving them either a 1,000 milligram dose of Urolithin A or a placebo every day for a few weeks right before their surgery. And the main goal here? To see if they can actually measure a direct reduction of that cellular rust, that oxidative stress, inside the tumor tissue itself. This would be some of the first real evidence of this in humans for this specific purpose. So after all that, what's the big takeaway? Let's just zoom out for a second and think about what this all really means. Okay, and this is super, super important to get straight. None of this is medical advice. The whole point here is to share this emerging research so that you can have more informed, more active conversations with your own oncologist. That's the goal.
What this all really boils down to is a powerful new connection that science is starting to uncover. It's this direct line that connects our diet, the health of our gut, and the tiny engines running inside every one of our cells. And it's a link that could really reshape how we think about managing our health in the future.
And that kind of leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. As we look ahead, could it be that some of our most powerful future therapies won't just come from a pharmacy, but from finally unlocking the potential of that incredible biological factory that's already operating inside each and every one of us? Thanks for tuning in.